Good evening. This is Liz Whitaker of Divination Station and live on Three of Cups Divine Arts. I want to say hello to everybody joining me already. Looks like we have a couple people popping in already. Thank you very much. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Jennifer. As always, going to wait for a few more people to join in before we jump into the lesson. Hi, Kay. So, how is everybody doing today? My week I think every week and every day just gets more like lost and weird. Like weird shit just keeps happening. Still grateful for everything that I have, that I'm still able to pop on here, do these lives. Also grateful that my last haircut is growing out pretty nicely. So even though my ends tend to get a little crazy, it still looks all right, I think. So I'm thankful for that. It's the little things, right? Hi, Rosemary. Hi, Caitlin. Hi, Sunshine. Everybody's all on the ball today. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and share this out to a couple places. Bear with me 1 second. So yeah, how is everybody doing today? I know in Buffalo we had some nice weather for a little bit. Today it got a little chillier. I definitely went outside prepared for the weather that we had yesterday, and it was a little chillier. But other than that, I had to get my car fixed, and it wasn't as big a deal as I thought. So again, grateful for that. Thank you, Kay. And again, just going to share this out one more place. So today, again, I'll start in a couple minutes here. Let's see what else. Getting my apartment set up, have plenty of time to do that. I did get my unemployment, so I'm really thankful for that. Awesome, Sarah. Keep going. You're going to feel so much better about it in a little bit. I know it's hard. It feels like Mercury retrograde, for crying out loud. Well, we are about to enter a time frame where we have like 4 or 5 planets in retrograde. I wrote it down, not in this notebook that I have here, but we did just enter Pluto retrograde. Venus retrograde is coming up. I believe we're also in Neptune retrograde. So there's a lot of things going on anyway. So it's just making things feel a little bit strange. With Pluto retrograde, I'm actually going to be talking about it a little bit in this broadcast. Pluto retrograde brings about so much shadow work. Pluto is in retrograde right now. It went into retrograde. One moment. I have a handy dandy astrological planner right here. So I can just take a look, and it should actually, I'm not really used to using this one, so hopefully it makes sense. And everything is not really laid out easily here. But anyway, Pluto is in retrograde, which brings about shadow work. Hi, Milagros. Hi, Monica. Pluto retrograde brings about shadow work. So a lot of things come up kind of from the bottom up. And yeah, Pluto is in retrograde now. It's been there for a little over a week. We also have Neptune's coming up. Saturn, Jupiter, and Venus. Those are all the planets that are going to be in retrograde for this month. So that's real fun. Every time Venus goes retrograde, you get those exes calling, you get those friends that you haven't talked to in a while and you didn't really leave on the best of terms. You get them calling. So it's probably going to be a wild ride for a little bit, as if it wasn't already, right? Which will bring us wonderfully Venus. Venus in retrograde is Venus with Pluto in retrograde is going to be, it's going to be interesting because we have all of this underworld, all of these underworld themes coming up. Jupiter retrograde usually isn't too bad. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and like luck and good fortune. So Jupiter going retrograde does not mean opposite of that. It's just a shift in that. Saturn retrograde, Saturn is kind of like what's coming to mind with that is restrictive. So we're going to feel like we want to expand and contract at the same time. So, and I know, Audrey, I know you do astrology stuff, so definitely pop in with, anything here. This is just real off the top of my head, off the cuff, kind of channeling here. Which brings us to, so we've been looking at the Fool's Journey. My past 20 broadcasts, 20 of 21 broadcasts have been about steps on the Fool's Journey. Last week we talked about the sun. We had that really great day. Everything was kind of coming up Milhouse. And then, half the planets go retrograde, right? Judgment. So today we're going to be talking about judgment. For those with Venus, Venus in the sure. And retrograde is never like good or bad, but if you have Venus in the 8th house, which is a house of Scorpio and death and all of that, Venus in the house of Pluto, because Pluto also rules the 8th house, it could get a little, it might feel a little bit not super good for you, simply because, with Venus, being the planet of like love and closeness and relationships, being in the 8th house of death and sex. I would be interested to hear how it kind of turns out for you. There's definitely a lot of things going on there that could be a little bit contractive, could be a little bit difficult, or, everything could, depending on what else you have going on in your chart, things could kind of like negate that and everything could go smoothly. But again, judgment is, judgment is, that next day after, we've kind of been living in that sun space where we think that, everything's fine. Everything is, it's almost, I don't want to say like blissful ignorance or it's like childlike hopefulness. And then judgment kind of smacks us on our ass. Judgment is that day of reckoning. So if you are familiar with Christian ideology, Christian imagery, this is Judgment Day. So, we have the angel Gabriel playing the trumpet, calling all of the souls, all of the righteous souls to heaven. And I believe it's Gabriel. It just kind of came out of my mouth and I didn't think about it and I didn't write it down. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. So it's that day of reckoning. If you are familiar with, or you work with Jungian archetypes, This is the realization of self. So it's that wake up call, that moment when you kind of look in a mirror and realize, this is who I am. This is what I want. It's karma. It is karma. If you are into, it is the ascension card. If you study chakras, it's kind of that movement from the root chakra, cleansing all the way up, reaching ascension in the crown chakra, and sending that light down. It is, so again, is that heaven and hell idea in Christian beliefs. The sun in pagan beliefs, this can represent the winter solstice, because it is, the sun is being reborn. So in any of these cultures, any of these kind of religious paths, it means the same thing. It means waking up and seeing where you truly are. If you are somewhere where you do not like, if you don't like where you're at, when you wake up and you have that moment of realization, what you do next is up to you. That's that call to reckoning, that call. Are you going to answer that call? You can also kind of go with that. Julie, actually I did just jump into this here, so let me go ahead and cover this. Thank you for joining, and welcome to Divination Station, brought to you by True Paranormal, the podcast. We are talking about the tarot card Judgment today. And when you join the live, please like, wow, love, react. And we do ask that you share the broadcast out. If you do share the broadcast, you can, if you share the broadcast, comment #shared. And we'll get a card for you at the end. So card readings come towards the end of the broadcast. So all you have to do is share this. And we ask that because we are looking to grow our audience organically. We are looking to expand our reach. And the best way to do that is for you to share. So tag a friend, share it out, comment #shared, and I'll get you on the list. And Audrey, yeah. And I have found that as I've, been going through the Fool's Journey, the card that we are talking about that week so often lines up with what's just happening. And I have Rise Up in my notes too. So that's awesome. And then I started singing the Hamilton soundtrack to myself. So, yes, opportunity to rise and step into greatness. And even if that journey is not easy, and that journey is rarely as laid out as we would like. There are bumps in the pavement. There are, we saw it as we go through the Fool's Journey, right? We have those easy days. We have those hard days. We have those days where we kind of keep to ourselves. We have those days where we reach out to others. And it's all a Fool's Journey. And when we look at the world next week, we will see that it never stops. Like, we're never going to stop. We keep going. And that's the beauty of the journey, right? We can shift if we don't like where we're at. You can stay, and it's not saying that we're all going to wake up and say, oh, I'm going to quit my day job and start my dream job tomorrow. No. But it takes that conscious decision to take those steps. And then you'll get there. It's one day at a time. It's one step at a time. It's recovering from mistakes. It's recovering from missteps. Like when you're kind of going down the stairs and you're holding something in front of you and you think you have one more step and don't, and you have that like panicky, fluttery moment of I'm gonna fall on my ass. I'm gonna, smash what I'm carrying, but you recover. Sometimes we do fall. Sometimes it does happen. And, and it sucks. And we move on from that. But we keep going, and we do things to make our dreams manifest, and that is judgment. So looking at the imagery here, again, the Christian symbology is pretty clear. We have the idea of the archangel in the clouds, really playing that horn that's supposed to signal the end of times. So it really is kind of signaling the apocalypse, you know, if we're going to get into that. But what is the apocalypse? The apocalypse is the end of days as we know it. As we know it. It's not necessarily the end of days, period. It is the end of time as we know it. So in the moment that you decide that you're going to change your life path, it can feel very apocalyptic, right? It can feel like we don't know the path we're forging, because we don't. We make it. It's an epiphany, right? It's that moment of, I'm not going to, thank you. Thank you, Audrey. And yeah, it's that epiphany moment, that aha moment. So in life coaching, when I work with life coaching clients, and like, I'm asking them the questions, I'm trying to get them there. Sometimes it takes a while to get someone to that aha moment, but you can see it. When I'm working with someone and I'm asking and I'm pulling, and they're getting frustrated with me because they think I just keep asking them the same question, but they get to that aha moment and you can see it. It's like an actual light bulb goes off. So it's that epiphany. It's that aha moment. It is that revelation. It's really what revelation means. It is atonement and redemption. So kind of brings about kind of the restorative justice, right? We make mistakes. Some people make mistakes that are much larger, on a larger scale than others. How do we deal with that? You know, how do we deal with our own mistakes and our own missteps? That's where restorative justice comes in. And part of that is really acknowledging where you messed up, going to the person that you may have hurt, you know, or in some way, shape, or form mistreated, and saying, hey, I was kind of a dick there, and here's why I see this. Here's what I'm going to do to atone. Here's what I'm going to do to be a better person, to not do that again. Restorative justice. And it's entirely up to you whether you give that person, you know, that chance to show it to you, or they move along and show their improved self to others. So that's, you know, one of the mantras in one of the books that I use for reference is, I recognize and rectify my mistakes. I recognize and rectify my mistakes. Don't beat yourself up about them. You know, don't, oh, no one's going to love me. No one, blah, 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 blah. You can't change the past. You can't change other people's impressions of you, but you can change yourself and your future actions. It can bring about like past life. So that idea of karma and past life information. If someone does readings with that past life kind of slant, I personally don't. And I think in one reading that I got, I can't even remember who gave me the reading, but they said that I was a new soul to this planet. So that's why I don't resonate readily with past life readings and anything having to do with past lives, because they said I've never actually been on this earth before, so I'm kind of like looking at everything like, what's this? So I'm kind of looking at everything with those like fresh, like childlike eyes, because they said I've never actually had a human life before this one. So Aquarius rising, y'all, that is real, but it can bring into, you know, past life information. Can be calling yourself on your own bullshit, right? If you're on this trajectory and you kind of Like you can feel it's not right, but you feel committed to it. You can always put a stop to that and call yourself on your own bullshit. Whether it's, you know that maybe you were arguing with a partner, a boss, your kid, a relative, that you were wrong and you realize it halfway through the argument. You can actually put a stop to that right there and say, oh my gosh, wow, you're right. I was wrong. You can course correct right there. It doesn't always feel good. Like we always want to be right, but being right is not always the right thing to do. So the Judgment card coming up. Donna, we're going to get cards at the end of the broadcast. So as long as you share out, I will go ahead and pull one for you, and we'll see. So you're calling yourself on your own bullshit. Hi. And really being able to move through that. Yeah, and my next note here is rise up. So literally rising up. Where are you going to go? Once that call to reckoning happens and you hear it, what is your call? Where are you going to go? We do see once you kind of get in the actual imagery here, it is actually corpses rising from their graves. But, Book of Revelations, y'all. It is what it is. So that is the Rider-Waite-Smith Judgment. Kind of all of the meanings, how it can show up in readings. It can be, hey, no problem. It's all right. Whatever time anybody tunes in is the perfect time. The card is representative of fire or water. There's kind of two schools for that. Some are with the fire, some are with the water. So fire is all about action, right? So I can see it as a fire card because you see it and you take action. Water are the emotions. What are you feeling? How do you feel about where you're at? So it's kind of a mix of both. And here is where the timing is kind of divine timing. It does not have a zodiac correspondence. It does have a planetary correspondence. It's a card of Pluto. So touched on Pluto a little bit earlier. Pluto is the underworld. Pluto is where our shadow work starts, and Pluto is in retrograde. So we're all literally going to be here for the next several months. All right, Milagros, when I get your card, that will be that. So Pluto, shadow work. I just posted an Adventure Time picture in Divination Station group when Finn says, there's a lot more demons here than I remember. That is 100% what shadow work is like. You can start it like, oh, I'm fine. I know I have to deal with, A, B, and C. But then you get there and all of these things start coming out, the root of all of that shadow work. So really it is pretty much divine timing that's pretty much divine timing, that we're here and Pluto just went retrograde. So like I was saying before, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up. And I made kind of some advice about shadow work last broadcast, and it was make sure that you go into it knowing that it's going to bring up some shit. It's going to bring up some possibly negative feelings. We're all kind of in a place right now where it's really easy to kind of fall into that negative mindset. So you're going to have to, if you approach it voluntarily, sometimes shadow work finds us. And you kind of have to make sure you have a support network in place, whatever that means to you. If you're a person that journals and you can just write everything down, bring it to your therapist, your counselor, your, life coach, best friend, your, partner, whomever you go to kind of go through all of this with, just be aware that it's going on. And if you are feeling kind of crappy and kind of down and like really getting into that like deep, if your anxiety goes a little bit deeper and it gets you into those places in your brain, just be like, oh, okay, you know what? Shadow work, Pluto's in retrograde. Let's work on this. And sometimes just recognizing it is enough to not get like really like bogged down. Oh my gosh, I just got an image of Atreyu and Artax in the swamp of sorrow. So if you've ever seen the Never-Ending Story, that's it. When Atreyu tries to save Artax. But the horse just gets too bogged down in sadness and just lets himself sink. Don't let yourself sink. There was also a quote when I was doing research, and I actually didn't know that this quote was by this person, but it's "The only way out is through" was by Robert Frost. I didn't know that. So the only way to get out of a place is to go through it. The only way to kind of work through these things is to get through it. And then you're going to be on the other side. So that's kind of where we are at with the Fool's Journey. We're almost at the end. I'm going to go through real quick and just read my list of shares for cards at the end. If I miss you, please pop your name down there and I'll get you on the list. So we have Sarah, Caitlin, Sunshine, Kay, Monica, Alex, Julie, Rosemary, Melrose. So if you did share and I did not read your name, please comment #shared and I will get you on the list. If you have any, questions or comments about Judgment, definitely, keep the, we can keep the interaction going there. I have been noticing Judgment's been coming up quite a bit. I did some lives on another group last week and Judgment came up, I think 2 or 3 times within one broadcast. So that was kind of interesting. So it is really that like time. We are about halfway through, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick sponsor break before I go ahead and go over the other cards. Divination Station is sponsored by True Paranormal, the podcast. Leo Rizzuti will take you on a journey into the supernatural, the mysterious, the strange, and things that simply cannot be explained. Join in by following True Paranormal, the podcast on Facebook. And you'll find all sorts of spooky stories, interviews with other paranormal investigators on True Paranormal, the podcast. All right, Donna, got you down here. So now we're going to go ahead and look at the other examples of Judgment. So other artists' depiction of the card. So of course we have the Tarot of the Cat People. And this one is kind of interesting. It's called Rejuvenation. And here, it's almost like she is still carrying that sun energy, but we also see the idea of those waves. So we have that idea of that fire in the water. And we have the cat kind of like yelling. And then all of the other cats. And I'm kind of taking that as the other like incarnations of the cat. So cats have 9 lives. So I'm kind of taking that as the amount of times and like personalities and situations and experiences that the cat has been through. And I just kind of love how active this card is. A lot of these cards are really gorgeous and lush, but they're very static. I love the back of the card. Oh my gosh. The movement in this card. Judgment has been rough. And that's in this time especially, being kind to ourselves is really important. You know, we're all kind of going through a hard time in different ways. Some of us approach this difficult time while we were already going through a difficult time. So it's kind of compounding. So we all have our own experiences right now. I gotcha. And we may have already been going through some things. So it's really about recognizing, again, where we are at and being kind to ourselves. And this is the Tarot de Marseille, Judgment. So again, we have the clouds and like the sun rays coming down and the angelic figure with the trumpet. We have fewer figures, but it almost looks like 2 are human and only 1 is the corpse. So 1 is coming out of, 1 is actually coming out of the casket and 2 were already kind of alive. So, you know, kind of shows that same idea, and that judgment will kind of come for all of us. Judgment can also mean, yes. Yeah, second chance in something, redemption, any of those kind of ideas, yes. And now we're going to look at the Thoth deck. The Thoth deck is the Aeon. So this is, you know, we kind of have this like doorway idea. And then the figure in the back of, I believe that's Anubis. So underworld figure. We have some snakes. And then down here, we have that idea of kind of rejuvenation and rebirth. So again, we have a lot of the reds and blues. So this is, again, showing the fire and the water. And this is actually quite kind of more of a departure for the Thoth deck. Then sometimes like they will follow the imagery. You can recognize it. This is a little bit different because we have the different cultural kind of call to action figures, different underworld figures. So it definitely represents Pluto in that way. And instead of the Pluto, the Thoth deck actually has fire as the representation. So that's kind of interesting there. So just knowing that if you see this and you're like, I've always thought that was like underworld and Pluto, it is. And it's also fire. Brianna, got you. And here's the Wild Unknown. So while this card is black and white, it's almost like I can see, it's like your brain fills in like the color. Like I'm seeing this as like the yellows for like the sun rays, you know, and we have the bird at the top calling all of the other birds from the bottom. And there's like so many, we can't even really like count them. So it's like the innumerable souls that are called up on Judgment Day. And this one is Angel Tarot cards. I always say the wrong name for this one. These are Angel Tarot cards by Doreen Virtue. This one is the Wild Unknown. And this one was the Thoth deck, Thoth. So this one again has the keyword right there, renewal. Archangel Jeremiah. So again, we have that. We do have the figure of the angel kind of calling the souls out of the water. So that's, we have that water influence there. Review and evaluate, a favorable assessment of the facts. Time to move in a new direction. Hi, Nikki. So this one, a favorable assessment of the facts. That kind of interests me because to me, like facts don't always lead to a favorable conclusion. So that is, I would have to go off of what else is around it. And that's another thing too. When you see judgment, really pay attention to what's around it, because it can kind of lead to how to remove blockages, or that there are blockages to begin with. Or it could mean that when the person is on their path right now, there's going to be a change and it's going to be a realization. It's not going to be a tower moment where everything crumbles down and it's stressful. It's not going to be a death moment where something, literally ends and begins. It's a conscious decision to transform. And this one is the Light Seers Tarot, one of my favorite current decks. So this one is really indicative to me of that call to reckoning of yourself. If you're on a path and you're not super happy with where you're going, and you kind of wake up one morning and you're like, I kind of want to follow my dream of being a ballerina. And you just kind of start by taking community dance classes. You might not ever be a ballerina, but taking dance classes is going to be that step. You may have always wanted to, get on stage and perform and just look, beautiful and elegant and move gracefully. So it's that moment of reckoning where you wake up and say, I'm going to do that. I'm going to see where it takes me. And you just do it. And not really taking into consideration anybody else's judgment. Which is kind of an interesting thing, right? We always think about judging and being judgmental as negative, but it's kind of the other side of that word, right? So we have the Justice card, justice. Are we being true? Are we being right? Are we being just? There is an amount of judging that goes in there. You have to, every day we make judgment calls. Is it safe for me to turn right on red? That's a judgment call. Is this person acting in a way that is detrimental to my goals? We make judgment calls. We make judgment calls on people's, on actions. It's when we make judgment calls on people based on them, things that they may not be able to control. That's where the judgment kind of really comes in. Or you judge someone's behavior and you don't really understand their experience. So there's that fine line of understanding the difference between being judgmental and making a judgment call. So I think that's kind of an important thing to bring up too. Is we are all in such a hurry and such a rush to not be deemed judgmental, but realizing that we make judgment calls every day. This one is the Spirit Keepers Tarot by Benabel Wen. I know this is so me. I just want to help my community and I keep putting it on hold. Yes. And that's, so the thing is, Milagros, when you take that step, it might not have that immediate actual payoff, but it's going to start you on that path. And, in the long run, you're going to feel better about it. And it might open other doors for you too. So Benabel Wen, Spirit Keeper Tarot, she has the Apocalypse. And she also has it represented by fire. And she calls it Last Judgment. So here we have the idea of, you know, the souls in the back. We have the lion, which is the fire. We have that tree of life. We have the Alpha and the Omega. We have the storks. Storks are transformation. So when you see storks, they are actually representative of change and transformation. We have the hands down here. These hands are in several of her cards. They are kind of the like spirit handing something to you. And she also has the W in there, and I'm just looking up real quick. Okay. And that is not in this book right here. So I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm just going to move on. So this is Benabel Wen with Apocalypse. So even when, you know, when artists and the renditions are kind of called other things, it's all still within that realm of those keywords. You are very welcome. You are welcome. I also I brought Game of Thrones tarot because I thought it was cool. So the Night King. So we kind of show him, and he does what? Actually rises up. He makes the dead rise. Kind of wrap these up quick, and then I'll go into the cards. I did get a new deck because, of course, I did. Because I'm nuts. This one was from Ghoulish Garb on Etsy. It's called Terror Tarot. It's a major arcana only deck. This is a guidebook. It's gorgeous. Edged in black. The art is amazing. And this is Judgment here. So here we have a necromancer calling up the dead. And these cards, they're that like super like silky matte feel. They're edged in black. They're gorgeous. So yeah, that was one of my new purchases. So yeah, as you can see, Judgment, while it comes in many forms, they all kind of boil down to that same thing. And yeah, the only way out is through. So I am going to go ahead and start with the readings. I'm going to go ahead and start with Sarah. And as always, I'm going to toss in my, actually I'll do that now. I'll get my link for my page. My Facebook page is Divination Station Tarot. If you have not given that page a like, if you do, that would be awesome. At any point too, if you do want to, give me a review there. If you like what you see here, I would definitely appreciate that. Again, let me just get this down here. Yeah, I would definitely appreciate that. If you do want to schedule a more in-depth reading with me, I am doing video, like Facebook chat readings. My rates are still discounted, and they will be for the foreseeable future. So those are 25% off my normal full reading rates. So 30 minutes is $35 and 60 minutes is $45. So you can do that. You can contact me either personally, Elizabeth Whitaker, or through my page, Divination Station Tarot. Yeah, and if you like that, I do go live a few other places, so you can catch them as well that are a little bit more focused on readings. I am also on Resourceful Raven every Wednesday. It is a sister group to Three of Cups Divine Arts. You do have to be added to the group, but if you find it, just request to be added. There's a lot of great information there, a lot of great lives there. It's one of my favorite places to hang out on Facebook. And I'm shuffling while I'm doing all of this shameless promotion here. So I do, again, I want to thank all of you for joining me, every week as we kind of go through these weird times. Really means a lot. Kind of actually gives structure to my week. So thank you. All right, Sarah. 3 of Wands. So things are in place for your next step. And it's all about divine timing to kind of take that step. So she is, I do use Venmo. Yes. I do Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, and I have a Square app so I can actually take payment with any major card too. So 3 of Wands, it's like you're ready to go and you're just waiting for the right time. A lot of wand cards have an idea of like impatience, but in the beginning of the suit, you kind of have this like, you're kind of really waiting for that right time to do it, and then things really take off. So Sarah, whatever coming up, you're waiting for that right time. Michelle, sure you can. You just have to share the broadcast and comment #shared, and then I'll get you on the list. So yeah, Sarah, whatever's coming up, make sure that you wait for that right time. Don't wait too long, because those tiki torches will burn out. You don't want to wait for the torch to burn out, where your motivation is kind of gone, but you don't want to jump the gun too soon. Caitlin. And I get my best to kind of go in order. Thank you. Of shared. All right, so Caitlin. 8 of Wands. So things are moving fast. So with 8 of Wands, where 3 of Wands was kind of like waiting for that divine timing, 8 of Wands is a little bit further down the suit, where, got to move fast, got to go fast, where everything is happening all at once. And this it really reminds me of like sparklers or like fireworks, just, a group of people bringing sparklers together. So Caitlin, whatever you have going on right now is really, really ready to take off. And kind of get ready for the ride, because I really feel like things are going to start to happen very quickly, which can feel a little bit overwhelming when everything else like in life is going like literally super slow. All right, Sunshine, you are up next. You're welcome. Sunshine, 7 of Cups. What to choose? So the vessels in 7 of Cups in this deck are singing bowls, but here they're kind of turned upside down. So it's kind of like a game of like shells, where you put the ball under one and you kind of like, which one is it? But here he kind of knows what's in most of them. So we can see the serpent coming out. We see the water coming out. We see wings. One has like holes in the top. One has, a couple have those ladders. And then there's going to be that mystery one, right? We have that like big, almost like crock pot looking thing right here, or like Dutch oven. So we have, this one's kind of unknown. And you kind of have to make that decision. Which do I go with? Having so many choices can be overwhelming. Okay, it's kind of like, where are you putting, you're feeling like you have to choose where you're putting your kind of time, love, and compassion too. So you have a lot of people maybe pulling at you. and you feel pressured to choose just one, because that's just kind of the situation that it is. So do you go with one that you kind of know what's going to happen, or do you go with the one that is a little bit more of a mystery there? Yep, and that little mask there. I am on, this is for Sunshine. You are right, you're up next, okay? So 7 of Cups was for Sunshine. And perfect timing, Kay. You're up next. You didn't miss it. Okay. 7 of Pentacles. Patience. So we're 7 of Cups is all about making a choice. 7 of Pentacles is all about patience. You've made your decision where you put your time and resources, and now you're waiting to see how that turns out. So he's planted, he's kind of planted all of these seeds, pentacle seeds, and they're all coming up. And, if I don't know if you can see it here, there's kind of like a couple, one looks like a leafy, like tree plant, and then one kind of looks like a succulent, and then some other roots are here kind of tangled up. So it's really that feeling of, did I put my time and energy into the right things? Sevens tend to ask us to reflect and do some, really reflecting onto ourselves. Yep, Michelle, like I said, I go in order. So I top people that were with me from the beginning of the broadcast. And I'm working down the list. And Victoria, I sure will. You just got to share the broadcast and hashtag shared. Oh my God. So there we go. There we go, Kay. That's perfect. So now you just got to wait and see what grows, see what blooms, and, really see what comes up. All right, next up is Monica. Monica. We have Ace of Swords. So this Ace of Swords is really says to me, it's like an expansion of the mind. So you are, gotcha. So again, this is for Monica. You are in a space right now where you are being enlightened. You are actually your mind is expanding and opening. So we have this staircase here, which is, and we have all of these lovely alchemical and occult symbols up here. And it's also, it reminds me of the stairway in libraries, in movies. But it's also the Nautilus. So it's also an example of sacred geometry. So the idea that geometry, solid, provable things, are integrated into our mind. They're integrated into our spiritual life. So when this comes, keep it going. Keep learning, keep bringing things, keep bringing information in. It is expanding your intellect, but what that will do in turn is enrich you spiritually. Okay, that was for Monica. And I know Melissa, specific question. Just scroll up here. Okay. Okay, so this is for Milagros. I would say intuitively, right off the top of my head, I would say throat chakra and like third eye chakra issues. So these energy centers, something might be going on with those. So again, without really going further, just saying those two parts of the body, that's what I immediately think about. Also, stress can do all sorts of crazy, weird things. So again, this is for Milagros and her question here. Knight of Cups. So message, okay. Message about love. What are you not seeing? What are you not saying? You're welcome, Monica. So with this, and those issues that you mentioned, with the Knight of Cups, I would ask, what are you not seeing? What are you not saying? So that's what's kind of coming to me with your question and this card. I don't think it's going to be one person necessarily, but I think really doing some reflecting there and doing some clearing work on those energy areas might clear that up for you. And also message me, and we can discuss that a little bit more if you would like. And again, that was for Milagros, Knight of Cups. All right, Alex, the minute I started to shuffle, this came out. So this is for you. 5 of Wands. A lot of things pulling energetically at you. Hi, Joy. So again, Alex, 5 of Wands, kind of a lot of ideas, a lot of actions, a lot of ways that you can go kind of battling all at once. No message, there isn't really a clear message coming through because of kind of all of the noise coming in. But there is one clear message, there's one clear, coming up to the top, so really what is that? And that's kind of what to focus on, is how to get there. Michelle, I know I've been using these pretty much exclusively for the past few weeks, and I am just in love with this deck. Alex, next up is Rosemary. Okay. All right, again, Rosemary is up next. Seven of Wands. 7 of Wands is really feeling, yes, just grab everyone with you and just pull them up. So 7 of Wands. Reflection, again, 7s are always that like reflective energy. And she is here in her, kind of in that like crystal area. She's in the, I know, I freaking love this deck. So she is almost meditating in this space, kind of held up by the wands. And is she giving her energy to the right spot? So that is kind of all about grounding. She's almost supported by those wands. Is she putting her energy into the right area? And it's like she's channeling that as well. So it's channeling, it's growth. This is the Light Seers Tarot. Let me see that. By Chris Ann. I got this deck I got from Hay House. I would check them. They had like a 30% off sale. So this is the Light Seers Tarot. So yeah, 7 of Wands for Rosemary. Really grounding, kind of managing that growth, sharing your ideas. And we've had now almost all of the 7s. Sevens are, reflection, doing that work, really turning inward. And, again, judgment came up. We're going to do some work inward. We're going to look at where we're putting our energy, where we're putting our words, where we're putting our, transplanting little babies, where we're putting our resources, and where we're putting our love. So yeah, a lot of 7 energy. All right, Donna, you are next. I know, Donna, you are asking more in the love realm. So let's see what comes up for you. Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is that idea of give and take, asking for what you need, providing what you can. So it is that idea of equal exchange of resources. So we have that kind of like lemniscat in the background, which is the infinity symbol. Like if you turn it down this way, you can kind of see that infinity symbol. So in any way that you kind of move this card, it has that same energy. Rosemary, you're welcome. So 6 of Pentacles. So Donna, what does that mean in a love relationship for you? Kind of what I'm seeing is kind of what you want. You want a relationship that is that's more than mutually beneficial, but that's equally kind of growing. Equally, both parties are working to sustain the relationship. One person isn't putting in more than the other. Give love, get love. Get love, give love. And we kind of have that loop. So this is kind of what I'm seeing, what you really kind of want, that like equal balance partnership. Resource-wise too, Brianna is next. All right, we got it. 8 of Swords. 8 of Swords is really all about feeling trapped by your own mind, feeling trapped by your own words, feeling trapped by your own thoughts. So here we see, and it looks more like a portal. I think it's supposed to be like, it's like a mirror portal. Like when she's sitting there, she's not bound, but what she perceives is danger. What she perceives is she is not free. She is not free to speak her mind, to speak her, or to act her will. So this is, once you kind of recognize that, you can stop giving it power. So it's acting out of fear and staying in a place because of fear. And there are many reasons that we do this. But once we and I'm kind of cord cutting. So what I'm seeing with this is cord cutting, whether it's cord cutting with a specific person that's holding you back, or whether it's cord cutting specific self-limiting beliefs that are holding you back. So again, this is for Brianna, 8 of Swords. Donna, you're welcome. All right, Nikki is up next. Okay, I always feel this way. So my next question to you is why? You don't have to answer that now. But if we were doing a more in-depth reading, I would start to bring in some like life coaching questions like that. Like, If you always feel that way, what is the source of that? And we would work backwards a little bit with that idea. Because you can move through it. This judgment tells us that. We can move through it, but we have to kind of recognize it and see why. Like, where are these coming from? All right, Nikki is up next. King of Wands. This card came up last week too. King of Wands. He, just in like that posture, you can almost... I'm very sorry to hear that, Brianna. I'm sorry for your loss. So there's a why. It's the how of what comes next. This is for Nikki. King of Wands. So he faces trouble, problems, issues, life, kind of with this bearing of, I got this, I have been through all of this, let's face this. He is ready for that next step, and he's got a lion at his back, right? He's got a lion like at his like beck and call is kind of what I'm feeling. So Nikki, is this person you, or is this a person in your life? I almost feel that it's a person in your life that you really look up to and you really look to when you do feel lost. He kind of leads your way. He's got that torch. It's got that action, like always knows what to do, right? If you have any issues, if you have anything going on, you look to this person, and he always knows what to do. So right now, maybe you are really looking to this person to kind of give you some guidance right now, because it's, maybe the way through for yourself is not clear. So you're looking to him for guidance, and luckily, he's there. He always comes through. All right, we got a couple left, Michelle and then Nita. So Michelle, you are up now. And these broadcasts have been going a smidge over, but that's all right. All right, Michelle. Ooh, the Magician. All right, what you got cooking up? So the Magician is creation in the active sense. So the Magician has all of the tools at hand. Basically anything that you can think or dream, you can do. The Magician is the first step on that fool's journey. So if you want to go, if anybody wants to go into a full in-depth of any of the major arcana cards that I pulled, and this is actually the first major that I pulled today. But if you do ever want to go through a full deep dive of any major arcana card, all of the videos, that was real loud sirens, so sorry about that. I'll repeat myself. All of those videos are on Three of Cups. You can actually go back and watch that deep dive of that card. But yeah, I love this card. Like, you can see the magic. You can see, all of the elements kind of swirling around. You can see the magic leaving their hand. So Michelle, I would say whatever you have cooking up or brewing, literally, make it happen. You know, if see what steps you need to do to make it happen. You know, this is a slow time for some, but for some, it's giving our brains a chance to kind of breathe and expand and really kind of think outside the box, because the box doesn't really exist anymore. So you can fill it up with kind of whatever you want. Yeah. Perfect. So yeah, as you're applying for jobs, really, whatever one that you kind of like really are pulled to, really put energy into getting that job. Do some manifestation work on that job, because the Magician is all about manifestation. So really, kind of do that deep dive of what specifically you want, which one you want, and do some manifestation work to get that job. And you can also, contact me if you, do want any, like consultation work on manifestation, because I can do that too. All right, Nita, you are next. The moon. The moon is all about its intuition, its reflection, but it's reflection into our shadow side. It's reflection into that shadow self. Again, Jungian shadow work, yada, yada. The moon represents Pisces, and sometimes it's like what it brings up. In some cards, there is a like crayfish coming up. And what they do is they're on the bottom, right? And whenever you see them coming up to the surface, there's a trail of debris following them. They've brought things up from the surface. That's what the moon is all about. It's kind of like what we think about at night, right? Because in the daytime, everything is bright and sunny, and we really know what we're doing. We have our to-do list, we have all of these things to accomplish, and it's nice and laid out. At night, when the moon is out, those harsh lines are gone. The moonlight is softer. It's more shadowy. It hides the harshness, but it also allows the shadows to come out. So that is really, kind of what the moon is about. It can be dream time. What happens, where does your mind go as you're drifting off to sleep? What are you dreaming about? What do those dreams tell you? Victoria, yes, I got you too. And it's also the perfect. Thank you for reminding me. I'll get you. So it's the light and the dark, right? So we're kind of looking at those light and the dark sides. And that is for Nita. Victoria, you are up next. Thank you for joining me today. Victoria, which reminds me, I freaking miss doing events. I miss doing parties. I miss, doing events where I meet people, and I miss doing tarot parties at my friend's house where I meet, so many awesome people. I really do miss that. So thank you much for joining me here. Nita, you're welcome. All right, Victoria, 3 of Wands for you too. So again, 3 of Wands you're at a pause. You're at a place right now where, you're ready to move forward, but you kind of can't. Right? So right now, you are kind of at that place where you're really ready to go. Oh, okay, gotcha. But it's like it's not time, and you kind of want to go. But you're kind of waiting for like those waves to come back, right? It's almost, you can kind of see the water there's real calm, which is great if you're kind of swimming, but she's looking to go surfing, right? You can surf on a smooth sea. Olivia, all right, I'll get you too. So Victoria, right now you want to move forward, and you kind of have that like action, but right now it's like it's too, nothing's happening. So, and unfortunately, all we can do is wait. We can't really rush it. If you rushed out, think of it, if you rushed out into a calm sea with a surfboard, you'd just be laying on the surfboard, which is fine if that's what you want to do, but that's not what she wants to do. So patience and divine timing, which is frustrating. I'm an Aries, and telling me to wait is like the most painful thing that you can really do to me. I hate it. I really do. But it is what it is. All right, Julie, you are up next. And then I will get you, Olivia. The world. Victoria, you can message me. We'll set something up. So Julie, the world. And this is actually the card that we're going to be talking about next week. So this is a little sneak peek into next week's lesson, if you want to call it that. I don't know what to call it. The world. The world is the beginning of a new. So we kind of see her. It's like a hula hoop. And it's really the Ouroboros, which is this snake eating its own tail. No beginning and no end. The world, you see all of the sacred geometry in there. The flower, the tree of life, the flower of life, Metatron's cube. So while one thing might be coming to an end, it's just to make room for something else. You can't, the world doesn't stay still, right? Even in this time of, everybody is at a forced pause, the world still turns. The seasons still change. The wheel of the year keeps going, and we kind of got to go with it. Like, we really don't have a choice. So again, that was for Julie, and that is the world. So right now, whatever is coming to an end, it's okay, because there's going to be the beginning of a whole new cycle. Think of it as leveling up. And that will be, again, the card that we will be focusing on next week. So if you catch the beginning of the broadcasts, I do go over a specific tarot card. Next week, we will be wrapping up the major arcana with the world. So that's kind of exciting. All right, and Olivia, I'll get you next. 9 of Cups. 9 of Cups, again, cups are emotions. There are feelings. 9 of Cups is not only kind of full and brimming with like emotion and joy, but you're also in a spot where like money is okay too. Like everything's kind of in its place. What I'm getting for this for you is community, kind of like sharing the wealth. So right now you're kind of looking what you can do to help others and how you can use your fortune, your good fortune, to help others that aren't quite there right now. Oh, of course, Kay, you're welcome. So yeah, this is for Olivia. Whatever you can do to kind of share that light, do it. And that's really what I feel like you are being called to right now, is to share your good fortune with others. Yeah, you're very welcome. Like I said, if you are watching me here, wherever you're watching, I know it was shared a few different places. If you have not yet liked or followed Three of Cups Divine Arts, definitely do that. Again, plenty of amazing broadcasts, educational shows. There's also, shows and broadcasts that focus more on readings. So like and follow Three of Cups Divine Arts. Like and follow Divination Station Tarot for more of me. You're welcome. I did put the link for Divination Station Tarot up there. You can follow Three of Cups just right from the broadcast link, because that's where I'm doing the live from. I do have a group as well. If you're part of the page and you want to be part of the group, just ask to join the group. Three of Cups also has a group, very, very informative. Lots of like information on herbs and stones and different holidays. And yeah, next week we're going to be going over the world, and that'll be kind of exciting. It will be the end of our Fool's Journey, but it's not the end. It's just the end of this it's just the end of this specific part of the journey. I am about to sign off here. I do want to thank you all so very much for joining me. Like I said, doing these on Mondays really does kind of set the tone for my week. Gives me some sort of structure. All right. I do have an Etsy shop too. I will actually pop the link down there. So all y'all that joined me through the whole thing, thank you very much. I will go ahead and so on my Etsy shop, I am offering custom spell bags. I have one right here that I'm working on for protection. So this is an example of one of the custom ones that I have. They do include 2 candles, 2 or 3 crystals, and a blend either for some are like a salt bath, some are for custom incense. So it just kind of depends on what I'm working, what the ingredients are. So I'm going to pop that link down too, because again, shameless self-promotion. I'm not doing events, and I miss it, and I want to reach y'all. I still want to reach y'all. So, I also have teacup altars. I am working on a custom one of those as well. I got to fix that. Etsy should work. So what my teacups are, and this is the one I'm going to be working on tonight. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up with some, this one is actually on the shop. This one is water element. So what this is, purifying salt. So it is purifying sea salt and herbs that are representative of the water element. So what you can do with those, salt in and of itself is purifying. So you can just leave it out as a salt bowl. You can use the herbs and the salt for, like I said, whatever you would like. I kind of designed them with people that want to practice but don't have an entire office to have as altar space. If you're in a dorm room, if you're in your parents' house, if your significant other doesn't want it taking over, if you have cats and you can't spread things all over the place, I really wanted to design it to be kind of all in one, and you can kind of do with it whatever fits, right? You can leave it sit, you can do your offerings to it, you can use it for thank you, Kay. So you really can do with it what pulls to you. I also really like things being nice and tidy and in one spot. So thank you. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Everybody be safe, be healthy, and I will see you next week. Have a great week.